All right, so these are the properties of matter notes. You see there are two types of properties. There are chemical and physical properties. Hopefully this is just a review. In the physical category, we actually have two different types of physical properties. We have our intensive properties, and then we have our extensive properties. Okay, so hopefully you remember that a chemical property is unique to the substance, and can only be measured by performing a chemical reaction. Okay, so some examples of chemical properties we are going to list here are the boiling point. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of physical properties. Let's start over. Some examples of chemical properties. Flammability, because in order to test flammability, you have to set something on fire. Radioactivity. Is measured with a Geiger counter, but it is actually physically changing the identity of the substance as it decomposes radioactively. Another one is how corrosive something is, also pH. So corrosive is how it I don't know how to explain it. pH is how acidic or basic something is. It's on a scale 1 to 14. There are other ones. These are the ones that we're going to focus on the most here. So now for physical properties, these are properties that anything can possess. You cannot identify, can't be used to identify a substance, because lots of things can have the same physical properties. So intensive property means that it's inside the substance. It's not changed by how much you have. Okay? An extensive property is changed by how much you have. Okay, so for example, an extensive property is mass. Mass can be changed. You can add more or take more away, but that doesn't change what element or what compound that you're using. Length is another one. You can change something's length, but it doesn't affect the other properties that it has. An example of an intensive property would be density. No matter how much or little of something you have, the density is actually always going to be the same, because this is a ratio. So you can add more or add less, and the density will still stay the same. Malleability, conductivity, all of those kind of things. They're not chemical properties because they're not unique to the substance, but it doesn't matter how much of the thing you have. We're not chemically changing it, but you can physically change it. Also, another property is viscosity. And viscosity is how thick or thin a liquid is. If it's super thick, that's very viscous. If it's very thin, it's not very viscous. There are a whole bunch of these things. These properties, the ones that I've written down, those are ones that you need to remember, that mass and length are extensive properties because it's changed by how much you have. Intensive properties, they're not changed by how much you have. Remember these. And then over here, these are some examples of chemical properties. There are a lot more, but these are just the ones we're going to focus on for now. Okay, so you're going to tape this onto whatever page that I have told you to in your notebook, and then we've got one more page of notes, and then you'll be done with notes, and we can get to doing something that's not sad like this.